creativity, from poetry to art to music. But ladies in the kitchen, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Pali, and thank you, Aisha, for joining us once again on this amazing Thursday.
Always a pleasure to be here.
Well, today we're going to be making something simple and very easy. We'll be making a Clover Classic one-pan chicken and rice dish. To get all the recipe details, all you need to do is go to afternoonexpress.co.za. But back to you, Pali.
Hailing all the way from Ladysmith in KZN, Nosipho Kuzegwayo, better known by her stage name Nue Sam, is an acclaimed poet, known for her touching on issues that will help inspire and empower women all over our great nation. Nue Sam, welcome to the loft.
Thank you for having me. Thank you very much.
I'm already loving the play on Nosipho. New, everything is new and fresh about you, girl. But if I were to find out about baby Nosipho, growing up in Ladysmith.
Oh my God. I've always felt like I was older than I was. So I always used to fight people and be like, yo, I'm old. I see things that y'all don't see.
Oh, so, no.
Yeah, I think that was my problem.
What do you think it was about that? Because, you know, I do believe sometimes children just know. Yeah. You know, sometimes if you're an intuitive, feeling child, there is a saying, literally, that says, you know, you're wiser beyond your years. Yeah. So do you think that that was that, or you were just very defiant, rebellious, argumentative? Because there is both sides of that coin.
Nah, I just think it was the brains. I always just felt like the things that I do sometimes, people are just like, it's a kid. I always felt like I'm smart.
Oh, wow, girl.
I'm smarter than other kids that are my age. So I always try to challenge people older than me. I always, not that I'm being super, like, not something like that. But then things that I'd say, I try to fight it with, hear me. I'm not a kid. Hear me. I'm trying to say something.
I love that. Wow. Yeah. Okay, I'm already having this picture of baby Nosipho out there just fighting all the older bullies. But I mean, when it comes to family, you've touched on the fact that you do respect your elders at the end of the day. Yeah. You do know, you know, culturally within us Africans, we have to always look up before we decide to say or come sideways. So tell me about what family means to you.
Family is everything. I wouldn't say family is just blood relatives or anything like that, because like I said, Uti, growing up, I've had to grow myself, because I've changed my locations every now and then. So the people that I've met along the way, they became my family because they cared. So I guess that's what it's about to me. It's about a person trying to care of another person. Doesn't have to be a blood relative or anything like that, as long as we get each other and we're trying to take care of one another, man.
Mutual respect and love is what it's all about, supporting each other essentially. So tell me about your journey within music, poetry and your writing.
Okay, I started writing at a very young age. I always used to write, had a music book, you know. Back then, we used to do our music video.
And you write your lyrics.
Just stupid songs. And then as I grew up, I started like writing poetry, getting more interested in writing poetry, the rhymes and all that. And as I moved to high school, I met a friend who was doing spoken word. Me, I was just a writer, and then she used to recite. And I was like, damn, so people when they recite, you can actually hear what they are saying. Because sometimes there are words, you have a word that has like 3 types of meanings, and it depends on how you pronounce it, then a person can hear what you're trying to say using that word. But when you write, a person can just read the way that they want to read.
And interpret it in their own way. That's so interesting that you say that, because we can relate. You know, when you're sending a text message, people always say it can be interpreted in whatever way you want. But there's something about being able to hear the words come out that shifts the meaning.
When I saw her perform and recite, I was like, I'm doing that, because I want people to actually get what I'm trying to say. I want them to feel what I'm trying to say. So I started reciting, and I recited with her. We morning assembly at school, and it was a huge crowd because it was a big school. So from there, I just knew. And 2018, then Java discovered me. Then we went to music, then putting it in music. Yeah.
I love that. So I want to get a taste of this written word. I want you to perform something for me, a piece that you specially wrote for us. And I think that what's so beautiful about this, it's a very inspiring, empowering poem, all about the ladies.
Yeah. It's not just for the ladies, though. You know, I'm just trying to talk to people, you know, about. I've realized how most of us we always depend on being loved by someone else, and we never focus on loving ourselves first. And we always just lean on, and you just want someone to bring that life into you. But it doesn't have to be like that, you know. So I wrote it because I feel like we can love ourselves more than we actually do. Like there's something, because you know what you deserve. Why not give it to yourself, you know?
I love that.
So yeah.
Take it away, Nosipho.
Okay, it goes like this. Mntanami uyabona kulomhlaba bayokuthanda mhla wahamba. Bayokuthanda usumathamba amhlophe usumunye nomhlaba. Nasemngcwabeni wakho bayoqamba amanga izitha ziyobe sikhala. Mhla washiya lo mhlaba bayokubiza ngawo wonke amahla amagama. Inhloso yami ukukutshela ukuthi ungancingi ukuthandwa. Uthanda imvamisa basitha ngalizono namanga. Ungakhali. Okokuqala umuntu ohlulwa yena ukuzithanda. Inhliziyo yakho uyoyinakekela kanjani yakhe imqaka. Mntanami injabula kusiya umuntu musukuhlala. Uyabona empilweni into yokusiza ukuzibeka kuqala. Umuntu uyokujikela ubothemba itshe kuqala. Vumela umoya wakho uthobeke, uvumela umqondo uqonda iqinisa izimo uzamkele. Uvula amehlo. Uma sengamele ubambelele udedele. Inhliziyo yakho isiyodla uthando lonke liphelele.
Thank you. I was caught between do I clap, do I click? I've got goosebumps all over my body. Wow. Nue Sam, a true talent when it comes to using vernac within your rhymes. I mean, it's all about keeping it local, lekker, proudly South African, and celebrating ulwimi lwethu. Thank you so much for coming through, Nosipho. But we do have more from her coming up, where we're going to have an incredible performance of a song of hers titled Vuyo Lwethu.
Oh my gosh, Bali, Nue Sam just took it to a whole other level. I actually felt like we were in some sort of a scene somewhere, you know?
Completely transformed our studio into this beautifully indigenous plate where we're just eating all of her words. I loved sitting down with her. What an incredible talent, Aisha.
Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, I love it. Speaking about, we're going to keep this train going because the other day I had the blessed opportunity to sit down with an artist, and she's all about healing art. She goes by the name of Lore, and you guys will have a look at what we spoke about just the other day. Lukretia Booysens from Lore Studio chats to us about why she left her career as a chemical engineer to explore more of her creative side and in turn inspire and uplift people through her work. Welcome to the Loft.
Thank you.
Now, it's so lovely to have creatives like yourself, because myself, girl, I cannot draw to save my life. So having people like you to be able to express themselves creatively in this way is just such a marvel. What got you started within the drawing world?
I've always been creative. So growing up, I've always painted and written pieces and stuff. So it's just been part of, yeah, I guess my outlet, how I relax and express myself.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, so many people say that drawing is a form of like therapy. It's very therapeutic. It forces you to do nothing and be nothing other than in the moment. And I already see a beautiful painting of you and a child on your back. So for you, what does drawing do?
It's definitely a way of, I would say, switching off, but also really getting in touch with emotions and how to express in a different form. So I don't know, sometimes I feel like it actually reflects like what's going on in my mind, and other times it's just more to actually switch off and calm down and not think at all. You kind of in your bubble, if that makes sense.
It does.
Yeah.
I kind of get into that bubble when I listen to music. When I listen to music in my room, I've got my earphones on, and I can kind of see the same kind of feeling in your paintings. But from here, I mean, you've got human bodies that you love to illustrate, also nature. So what inspires you?
A lot of my work started off with like a sustainability approach. So that was how I started off, especially with my illustrations, creating awareness on sustainability for the fashion scene, because I have a fashion company as well. So it's a it's a sustainable fashion brand, and that's where everything started. And from there, I've moved on to a lot of inspiration comes from traveling through Africa, which I've done since I was really young. I get my inspiration from a lot of different places.
Do you use that same kind of expression and inspiration in your fashion brand?
Yes, definitely. I feel everything, it's more organic and natural if you, like, it comes from a place within your heart. If it's fake, then you can see it, or if it's not authentic.
I was going to say, our audience members are able to read authenticity like a book, honey. If you are not authentic, people see right through it. But something that I also love about you is your authenticity in your philanthropic efforts. I mean, Ithemba Foundation is something that's very, very close to your heart. So can you tell us a little bit about the work that you do there?
Yes, so when I started the art, I wanted to find a way to give back and not just take whatever sales I get directly into my pocket. So I met them via a close family friend of ours, and I really got inspired by what they stand for. So they do a lot of research on depression and other mental health conditions, which I feel is something that has a bad rep.
Yeah, it's got a stigma.
Yes, it has a stigma, and people are afraid to talk about it, which I think is changing as you see. People are coming forward and they're much more open about it. So I thought it's a good idea to like combine art that's uplifting, it's colorful, it's positive, and connecting it with a cause such as that.
I love that. And another thing that I love about you, not only is your heart super big, but your heart for people as well just resonates so true with our Afternoon Express audiences. Again, I have to mention this picture of you and a baby. Wasn't this a photograph first?
Yeah, so this is, I spent a year in Malawi where just after finishing varsity, and this was one of the workers, her little girl, and I got really fond of her and she became really close to me. Initially she cried every time she saw me because I'm a mzungu, so I'm like with a white, they're not used to my light skin. But at the end, she got so excited to see me. So that's the inspiration behind that.
Wow. And it's also so interesting and funny to me how in Zulu we call it umlungu.
Yes.
And clearly in Zambia?
Yeah, it's called Chichewa.
Chichewa, that's the language.
Yeah.
Wow, Umzungu.
Yeah,
I love
Mzungu.
that. Oh, hilarious. Okay. But even more breaking boundaries, whether it's race, culturally, language barriers, you continue to just work really, really hard. But COVID-19 came through and it swept us off our feet. For someone like you who's an explorer, an adventurer, someone who loves to capture nature and the different people you engage with, how did then the pandemic affect you?
I mean, it was tough in general, but I feel I've been quite blessed in terms of still being able to work part-time from home, and it gave me time to actually start things that I never got time for.
Really?
So yeah, in terms of traveling, that's been hard, but yeah, there's a lot of more serious things to worry about at the moment personally. So it hasn't really bothered me that much. I tried to travel more locally and see places that you wouldn't see because you always think it's so close to home or it's not that special.
I love that about you. I mean, I too took a couple of short lefts during lockdown, and it truly does just expose the beauty of our darling South African nature, which I love so much. Well, thank you so much, Lore, for coming through to Afternoon Express. It's always such a blessing to be able to touch base with different creatives here in the loft.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Now, a painting or a drawing can help you heal, whether you paint something yourself or purchase a painting or drawing. So for more information on Lore's paintings, please do follow Afternoon Express's social media pages.
I'm feeling very artsy today, aren't you?
It is. I mean, the fact that there's so many things about we can do, whether it's painting or music or any form of art, and it's just so uplifting and so spiritual.
I know exactly what you mean. Palesa, you know I like to paint, right? And I don't think I'm at this level yet. But there's got to be something that's artsy about you.
I'm thinking, because I'm quite a creative person, and I can almost turn any situation into a full-on experience creatively. I used to work an office job, I know, and I was the one dancing in the hallway. I was the one decorating my table and my desk. So I find any opportunity to release creatively as I can.
So you are expressive.
Yes.
Let me not say artsy, more expressive more than anything.
I guess, absolutely. But ladies, we've got so much more creativity as we continue to celebrate all things creative, arts, and of course, proudly South African. Lukretia Booysens has opened up an art gallery that is specific to Indigenous art and focuses mainly on Khoisan and Koena heritage for her mission to celebrate and preserve this heritage. Lovely to have you on Afternoon Express.
Thank you so much for having me.
Now, Lukretia, if I just were to take it from the beginning of your journey, especially within your art gallery and the movement that you're trying to revive, essentially, what is it about Indigenous art and the heritage, you know, the culture behind it that just draws you in?
Well, when it comes to heritage and culture, I'm inherently of Koena descent. So why I do what I do is because I wanted to preserve, you know, my heritage, but not in a political sense, but a very, how can I say, fun and just, you know, getting people to explore and, you know, understand and share what being Koena is in contemporary South Africa. Because, yeah, what we see all over when we talk about, you know, Koena heritage, people don't necessarily know about it. So
I was actually going to say, even for myself, I mean, we do celebrate the Rainbow Nation, and that's what we always speak about, and that's the messaging that we love to push here on Afternoon Express. But I myself am embarrassed to say that I haven't really exposed myself to the Koena Nation and everything that you're about and you stand for.
yeah, and that is basically why I started what I started. I actually was an activist for heritage preservation for about 6 years, and then artists came to me and said, listen, we love what you do.
Wow.
Would you represent us? The Stanley Grootboom was actually the very first artist to actually approach me. And I was like, at that point, I knew absolutely nothing about being an art curator. And he was like, please, just try. And I sold his art. The first art piece that I sold was 26,000 Rand.
Sure.
And from there, more and more artists came to me. And we were predominantly selling online. And during COVID, it was so great during the hard lockdown. Our sales, you know, skyrocketed, and we made the decision to open a space.
Girl, tell me about this space, because for me, it's just about so much more than just the actual paintings on a canvas and drawings. It's an experience. I mean, from the poets, the writers, the events, it seems as if it's the place to be.
I think it's going to be a gem, a Cape Town gem. So the space is about art. It's about mainly telling stories. It's a platform where we as Koena people can tell everybody our stories, because a lot of people, as I said, don't know much about Koena culture aside from what we were taught in schools and history books. So getting those stories out to the people is extremely important, but we have a completely different and contemporary approach to heritage preservation, which is more what is a South African living in 2020, who is Koena like. So these are the stories we tell. And so we use different art forms, which is spoken word. We've got jazz, we've got Bushman blues, we've got language classes that's going to be hosted, exhibitions. There's so many things that's going to be happening in the space, and it's really beautiful to be able to be a part of something like this.
I mean, very exciting, revolutionary stuff, because essentially I've never experienced anything like it, nor have I heard of anything like what you're about to do in the Cape Town space. So I can only imagine so many South Africans right now are asking themselves, why is it that we're not celebrating Indigenous art as much as we should? Why do you think that is?
Well, that was the question that I had when I started activism. You know, it's like I didn't see people that look like me celebrate themselves. And I was like, why is that? And obviously then you go into the hard facts of our country and the historical
background we come from.
You know, things that we've been through as a country as a whole, and predominantly Koena people have been politicized, and I didn't understand that, because, you know, when you are Koena, you're just Kwe, you can't help it, you don't choose to be Kwe. It's like being Zulu or Tswana or Sotho or Xhosa, you don't choose that. And our culture has always been associated with politics and land issues, and I was like, no, man,
let's turn this around.
Okay, let's stop this, because it's exhausting.
Yeah.
So yeah, we just wanted to have a platform where we could just honestly and truthfully explore and share ourselves.
I want to go into all of that. I mean, they do say a picture says 1,000 words, and boy, do the pictures communicate, the ones that you've brought along with us. So can you just talk to us about some of the emotion we can experience when looking through some of this artwork and, you know, going through what you've brought with us today? Going from the yellow woman and that background, I think it's so stunning, very, very emotive. I'm almost seeing a dance move happening.
Yeah, it's very fun.
Yeah.
It is. It's basically a depiction of the young contemporary, vibrant Koena, you know, young woman, and it's very exciting. It's very colourful and vibrant. It's by Anthony Roach. He's one of our mature artists. He's based in the Eastern Cape.
Oh, wow.
And his work is extremely beautiful. So it is a touch of, you know, tradition with a touch of modern.
I love that. And then we also have here a gentleman, an old man, an old soul. I think, is he playing an instrument?
He's playing the mouth bow, which is one of the natural instruments that everybody knows that, you know, Koena people has played through the ages. And that is by Bryn Neufeld, also extremely esteemed artist. He's one of my highest selling artists, actually.
Oh, wow, okay.
Also from the Eastern Cape region. And his focus is on the traditional, but he also goes into our communities and tells a story, you know, about how our people generally live. You understand, when you go into, you know, the towns and, you know, the
I think that there's also
spaces
something very special about artists who don't just paint from a picture, but paint from experiences.
Yeah.
And I think that that is truly the emotion that I see coming out. It's so much more than just a picture. And then the final two are, for me, a celebration of colour.
Yes. So the second last one with the two boys, that one is titled Identity. And it's also by Bryn Neufeld, and it's kind of a play on how we, because of our history in South Africa, has separated from ourselves in a sense. And obviously now in South Africa there's a resurgence of people connecting with their ancestries and celebrating their heritage. And that is basically a picture that says that it's time to recognize your identity and celebrate that.
Well, thank you so much. I think, Lukretia, as we're just wrapping up here, the art that you've brought us is gorgeous. You are gorgeous, but it's more what you stand for that we celebrate here on Afternoon Express. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Preserving and celebrating this beautiful art, which is our heritage. For more information on Koena art, please follow Afternoon Express's social media pages.
Palisa, thank you for that, because I think I needed to learn what the difference is between Indigenous art and just normal art.
Yeah. It's so important, especially right now, the time and the times we find ourselves in. The world is just one big melting pot. So being able to revisit your culture, your heritage, especially through art, I think is so beautiful.
It is. I don't know about you, Aisha, but I don't know if painting, would you be able to bring out your Indigenous side?
In a painting, and I don't know, me and a paintbrush or a pencil and or a crayon, it's just, we're not friends, but it is nice to see the celebration of often underappreciated cultures.
Stay tuned, Mzansi, because at the end of the show, we've got that soulful performance of Vuyo Letu by Nue Sam.
There is a classic mayonnaise that brings out the traditional French in 3 levels of tanginess. The mild classic, the medium classic, the strong classic. Tangy the way you love it.
Made with love by Clover.
Welcome back, and yes, it is April Fool's, but I promise you there is no fooling around in this kitchen today. Easter entertaining need not be a difficult chore, and if you're looking for inspiration other than pickled fish this Easter, our Clover Classic one-pan chicken and rice dish is the perfect dish to cook up this long Easter weekend, leaving you with less dishes and more time to be the hostess with the mostess. Now, Miss Aisha, you are the hostess with the mostess because you keep giving us those dishes that are simple and easy to prepare. You've got a one-pot wonder for it today.
Yes, I do. It's one of my favorite dishes for a weekday meal because it takes ingredients that you've already got in your pantry or at your disposal. One pan, less dishes, starts on the stove, ends in the oven. It's a fabulous chicken and rice one-pan dish.
You are speaking mine and Palace's language because I know we hate those dishes.
Yes.
So tell us what goes into this dish.
Okay, so what we are going to start off with, we've got some chicken. We've got dark meat, thighs, because it's a lot more flavorful. But of course, you can use any type of meat, or any type of chicken, meat as well, if you want to. You can totally substitute this with some chops. But we've got chicken thighs. It's a nice dark meat. We're going to sear that. We've got vegetables. We've got some butternut, green beans and broccoli. Again, whatever you have at your disposal in your fridge drawer, use that. This is one of those dishes that doesn't require specific measurements or ingredients. We just use what we have, we chuck it all together, and we hope for the best.
I love that. So I'm going to start preparing our veggies here. Like you mentioned, I've got our broccoli. I'm just going to cut that into smaller pieces, and also our green beans. The whole idea of cutting it into small pieces is because we want everything to cook evenly.
Yes, that's very important. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to mix all our spices over there. We've got paprika, we've got chili powder. There we go. Get that all in there. We've got some lovely ground cumin, garlic powder, so it's all lovely as the days start to get colder. We've got some warm spices for nice warm flavors and a little bit of heat.
And you did mention that we can use any veggies, meaning that even with the spices...
Even with your spices, again, use whatever you have at your disposal. One of those times where you don't want to have to go specifically out into the store to have to purchase something that you don't have. Use whatever is available. I'm just going to use the back of that just to give that a bit of a...
And I know everyone goes on about, I try not to buy too many veggies. I buy frozen veg. That is also just as fine.
Perfect. Completely perfect to use, because I know, again, I'm one of those people where I'll buy vegetables and then 2 weeks later, when you're cleaning out the fridge on Monday, you go, oh, I forgot that I bought, you know, that little broccoli packet that's been sitting there, and you completely forget about that.
I've got a trick for that, South Africa. Whenever you're buying your veggies and you're not sure what to cook, the moment you buy your veggies, freeze them immediately, because you never know when you might need them. So it is safer, buy your veggies, freeze them, and then as you need them, use them that way. That it's safer than keeping them in the fridge, because the one thing is we all get excited. You've got a recipe in mind, you cook it, and then you've got some leftovers sitting in the fridge. Rather, same day, you cook your dish, whatever that's left over, freeze it. Don't leave it in the fridge, because it's easier to defrost and cook than to have to throw away so much. But we're trying not to waste. We're trying our best to make sure we live a sustainable life, right?
Exactly that. Oh, there we go. I just nearly lost our chicken there. So we are going to now just, should have been a little bit more warmer, but we are going to sear our chicken skin side down until we get a nice crispy skin going. There we go, a nice crispy skin going. And look at that, we've seasoned the chicken, so we're going to get that nice color and flavor in there. I'm just going to turn up the heat a little bit more. There we go.
All right, so just to explain to South Africa what you did, you took all those spices, mixed it together, and that's what you marinated the chicken with.
And that's exactly what I marinated the chicken with, a little bit of olive oil. And I've given you half of the chicken for something else that's coming later. Just going to be moving my chicken stock out of the way quickly. So we don't want to cook the chicken because that will be doing in the oven. We just want to give it a nice sear so you can start getting that nice little crispy skin and nice brown forming.
Because once it's in the oven, obviously there's no opportunity to brown it again.
No, there isn't. Even if you do put your oven on grill, it's not going to be the same when you're not going to get that nice skin that you would have gotten just by searing it, because what you're doing is you're rendering down the fat of the chicken skin and it's getting that nice crispy, almost caramelized taste. There we go.
All right, I'm just cutting up my onions here, and once I've done that, I'm then going to make a bit of a sauce that's going to go into the chicken that you're going to be cooking there. And to just explain to South Africa, when you say one-pot wonder, we've got the chicken that we're making. I'm chopping up the veggies. How exactly are you going to be assembling this whole dish?
So once I'm done with the searing the chicken, we're going to get that. We're going to be removing it and then just letting it set aside. Then we are going to be in the same pan. Don't clean it out, don't nothing, because you want to reuse that same flavor that has been in there. we're going to remove the chicken, add the onions, and let that cook down a bit. We're going to saute that down. Then we are going to be adding, might sound a bit strange, dry rice. We are not going to be cooking our rice first, because doing that is going to be cooking it in the oven, all done.
Okay.
So adding dry rice to that, and then we're just going to layer that chicken back on that dry rice, the vegetables on that dry rice, and adding chicken stock, and then we're going to finish it off in the last, say, 10-20 minutes with that delicious sauce that you're making over there with our classic mayonnaise.
Okay, perfect. And in essence, we're making, it's not a paella per se, but it takes the same
similar, yeah, it's basically a similar concept. Also one pan, also dry rice, because using stock to cook the rice and allowing the chicken flavors to reduce and render down into the rice so everything is flavorful, absolutely flavorful.
That sounds amazing. So I've just added our Clover Classic mayo into the marinade or the sauce that we're going to be making the chicken in. And we've chosen the number 1. Is this because you like your mayo a little less tangy? Because I like number 2.
I do. I'm not much of a tangy person. It's not my favorite. Can I have those onions from you, though?
Sure,
First, I don't like, there we go, a tangy mayo. I'm more of a subtle flavor. I like more creamy as well. And because we've got the chili and the paprika in this, we're going to get a nice smoky flavor. So we didn't want to, if anybody's not into heat, we didn't want to use the number 3 because it's got a little bit of a heat in that as well.
I get you. All right.
Everything's just flying today. We're just going to be cooking that onion.
And the best part about that is also a term we call deglazing, where the sweetness and the juices from the onion, in essence, pick up everything that's at the bottom.
And look at that, we just cleaned the pan with the onions.
So people mustn't be worried. You mustn't be worried if it burns a little bit at the bottom, because you will bring it up with that onion that we're cooking.
Exactly. Look at that, all done. And the onion's got a nice brown color to that. And the best onion to use, I think, for this is you can either use a white onion or a brown onion, because it can a brown onion's got a nice sweetness to it. So once it caramelizes, and in that rice, it's delicious.
Awesome. All right, you can start assembling that for us, and we can put it into the oven so South Africa can see what exactly this dish is about. And like we mentioned, we are using our tang level number 1 today. I probably would still stick to number 1 for this specific dish, even though I'm a liker of the tang level number 2. And I love the fact that it is enriched with a source of 10 vitamins, so at least you know that you're getting all the vitamins that you need, and it still tastes as great as you like it. Right, so you're adding your chicken to this. Do you want me to start assembling the veg in the meantime?
Yes, I'm just going to add the chicken stock just because we want to stop the rice from actually burning and forming a crust. So you just want to add enough stock, as you would in the pan if you were making your rice separately, just enough to cover your rice. And then you're going to be cooking it in about 20-minute bursts, and you are going to be restocking your stock onto your rice. Just to make sure that, again, it doesn't burn and cook. So we're just going to, while you're doing that, I'm just going to randomly in there squeeze my chicken.
And then if you were using frozen veg, because it is slightly more it's pre-cooked in most cases, what I would suggest then is to add the frozen veggies
very last.
10 minutes before the dish is
10 to 5 minutes, obviously. We're just going to be getting some nice lemon slices, because you want a nice little bit of tang.
Our green beans around the sides. And then to thicken this, we're going to add that sauce that we talked about. And I'm not even going to mix it in. I'm just going to plop it in there. And then that's going to thicken the sauce, give it additional flavor. Those same spices that we use to marinate the chicken are the same spices we've got in the sauce. And that's a simple and easy recipe that goes into the oven to bake. And then it comes out delicious and tasty. And now that's one way to keep it classic this weekend. Remember, we are still running an exciting competition with that Clover Classic mayo. To enter, all you have to do is comment on the Clover Classic competition post by telling us which dish you would cook with Clover Classic mayo and how tangy do you like it. Do you prefer tang level 1, which is mild, tang level 2, which is medium, or tang level 3, which is strong? You stand a chance to win 1,000 Rand cash voucher, and we could be cooking your recipe here on Afternoon Express. But in case you missed the steps to Aisha's amazing recipe, here's a quick recap.
Made with love by Clover.
Melanin is the pigmentation that is responsible for our beautiful variety of skin tones and shades, eye color and hair color. However, when we do discuss melanin, that discussion rarely includes its actual biological benefits. Not only does melanin provide pigmentation for human skin, hair and eyes, it also provides protection against the harmful effects of ultraviolet rays. We're back at my favorite dermatologist, Dr. Dilshad Asmal, as we discuss what is melanin and why it's so important for our skin. Dilshad, what is melanin?
Melanin is a naturally occurring pigment in our skin, and this determines our hair color, our skin color, and our eye color. Melanin, the pigment, is found in brown cells called melanocytes, and these melanocytes have pockets. Think of them as being called melanosomes that contain the pigment. So the more melanosomes you have, in terms of size, the darker you are. Now, it should be known that in our Rainbow Nation, we all have the same amount of melanocytes. But darker skin patients have larger melanosomes or pockets with increased amount of melanin pigment to give us the darker skin type. If you're darker, it's increased in the darker skinned patient. So the lighter skin patient will have less melanin and smaller melanosomes or pockets.
Dilshad, what are the benefits of melanin?
Melanin is protective. So what do I mean by that? Basically, it blocks UV radiation or sun radiation from causing cellular damage to our DNA. Think of DNA as being the building blocks of our skin. So what melanin does is that it blocks the UV radiation so that we have a decreased risk of getting skin cancer or premature aging, just to mention a few side effects of over UV radiation.
Dilshad, is there such a thing as too much or too little melanin? And of course, what issues can this cause?
Too much melanin means we are darker, right? Too little melanin means we are lighter. And when you look at decreased amount of melanin, you're looking at skin conditions like vitiligo, you're looking at skin conditions like albinism. So there are, just to name a few, conditions that can be seen when you have less melanin.
Can we change or influence the amount of melanin we have?
Now, this is a very controversial question because there are drugs and potions out there that can increase melanin. But as a doctor, and especially as a specialist dermatologist, you find that these can be seriously affecting the patient, and we don't know what they do to the internal system of our body. So to take and ingest melanin or a substitute to make you darker is actually quite scary. And I would never advocate that as a dermatologist, because again, we get excited in medicine when we have clinical trials where we have thousands of patients, and these potions and pills, they aren't such large clinical trials, so that's why it makes it so scary.
Thank you so much, Doctor. It's important that we make sure our skin is nourished, hydrated, and well taken care of. Thank goodness I've got my best friend Afriderm Premium Skincare range, specially formulated for dark skin. You're beautiful. Love the shade of your skin. An all-in-one solution for beautiful skin. The rich, deep beauty of our dark skin is special. It provides more melanin, which protects you. But the more melanin means your skin pigmentation can give you uneven skin tone and other problems. African skin and darker skin tones need unique care and attention, especially since it's vulnerable to stress. That's why Afriderm has developed a wide premium range of carefully formulated specialized skincare products to nourish and protect the rich, ethnic beauty of dark skin.
There is a classic mayonnaise that brings out the traditional French in 3 levels of tanginess. The mild classic, the medium classic, the strong classic. Tangy the way you love it.
Made with love by Clover. Express yourself.
continue to celebrate our different feelings when it comes to creating Indigenous art and Indigenous poetry. It's all about the music right now. We've got Nue Sam, who's about to perform her song, Vuyo Lwethu. But before we get into that, I want to find out from you, Siswam, how has it been like being able to work very closely with umuntu just like Sjava? I mean, huge within the South African music industry.
Well, it's been great, man. He's a very great man. He understands and he puts your art first all the time. It's you first as an artist all the time. So I guess we're just family. Everything is just beautiful, man. Everything's just great.
Well, lady, let me not keep you any longer. Enough talking. It's time for the music. Take it away.
Thank you.
Attention seeker. I know sometimes I get all confused, but I'm no seeker. I'm not crazy, I just see things in a different picture. Scriptures that I've written, trying to understand this killer, trying to defeat all these demons. Some need to understand I'm not as strong as I was before. At any day, at any state, I could just fall flat on the floor. I don't daydream anymore, I can't. I don't just smile for no reason like before. My happiness now lasts for 3 minutes or 4. Tears, well, tears always pour. They don't drop, they flow. This depression will make you feel so unworthy and stupid. I hate the person I've become. I regret every step I take and every decision I make turns to a mistake. I can't do anything right. Hearts are all that I break. I guess I can never be enough. Better give them a break. Listen, you need to understand. I just need you to listen to me and hold my hand. Don't act like you understand. Don't hold my hand if you pretend. I hardly trust. I used to last. My heart used to be a heart. Now I've lost it. It got blown away by the wind like dust. Why is it that every time I think I gotta cry, huh? Why can't they accept who I am? So I always gotta lie. This is why I should never be alone. I could end up taking my own life. Scars on my wrist, still new, blood still drips. Sleeping pills and some weed. I swear that's all that I need. Or a power button. Yeah, I switched myself off for months, or weeks, or years. I gotta get out of here. I hide from their faces. I try to ignore their words, cause that's my worst fear. I don't wanna know what they gotta say. Depression is real and words can kill. I'm very sensitive. You either be in my life or don't be in my life. Just know that I always cry when I feel I just need my happy self back. That's all I'm asking for. That's all that I need.
Bambisanda sam ntombazana umhlaba uyahlaba ubuhlungu nyamezela kodwa likhaya lethu suba nekhala qiyazana sizophuma kula matyathanga omhlaba kodwa abazali bathi nyamezela abasiboni siyaphela siyaphela abasiboni siyaphela ngoba lena inameva sunemini siyaphela kutalisha nqenqeza oyini intoni na abesenzeni na uluvuyo lwethu bambisanda sam ntombazana umhlaba uyahlaba ubuhlungu nyamezela likhaya lethu suba nekhala qiyazana sizophuma kula matyathanga omhlaba kodwa abazali bathi nyamezela abasiboni siyaphela abasiboni siyaphela ngoba lena inameva sunemini siyaphela kutalisha nqenqeza oyini intoni na abesenzeni na
What an incredibly moving piece. Thank you so much, Nue Sam, for joining us here on Afternoon Express Mzansi this Thursday. Please do head over to our social media platforms and let us know how you express yourself.
I'm definitely feeling Nue Sam Bali. I don't know what the rest of South Africa will say with their comments on Facebook and all the social media, but I'm definitely feeling her.
Yeah. Oh, after that performance, I definitely have to quench my thirst. I mean, but I'm here for it. The fact that she's been able to merge and mix her different languages, the mixture between poetry and music, for me is so iconic. I mean, Tumi, yourself, you are the IC queen here in the loft, whether we give you a rapping challenge, a singing challenge, but would you be able to nail a poetry challenge?
I don't want to lie. I can't commit to such things right now. I'd have to go home and write something down first, because that's a whole other level.
Yeah. Poetry is so deep, don't you find,
It is.
Aisha?
I mean, it's something that to take. For me, I would take preparation. I mean, I wouldn't know what to say, where to start, and anyone that can do that just off the bat, you clearly have a message that you need to relay.
Yeah, definitely. And I want to encourage everyone right now, because poetry is somewhat of a lost art form. Right now, everyone is dabbling so much into the music.
Yes.
But let's revive the written word and then bringing it to life by your voice, by actually performing this. You know, when Nue Sam was performing earlier, I didn't know whether to click or clap my hands, because the culture is essentially lost. So let's bring it back, all the way back. But when it comes to being Indigenous and your Indigenous roots, what do you want to see more attention being put on? I would say, for me, literature.
I agree with you, Palisa, because so much of it is not available, not easily available to people. So it is something that I think we need to invest more in that. I agree with you there.
Well, ladies, thank you so much for joining us. It's always such a pleasure. I mean, Aisha, you're always keeping it local and and Indigenous in the loft when it comes to your recipes. I'm loving that. Happy April Fool's Day, Mzansi, and thank you for watching. But from us here on Afternoon Express, good night, stay safe, and happy eating. Goodbye. Make the most of glorious summer with your picnic favorites. Made with love by Clover.
Another feel-good production.